Hello everyone, you're watching the Beanbird 2 channel where we talk about testimonies and the goodness of God. And God is good and He directs our paths. In fact, in Proverbs 3:6 it says, "In all your ways acknowledge Him and He shall make your paths straight." And in other translations, acknowledge Him is written as to submit or to recognize. So in all your ways, submit, recognize, acknowledge Him, and He shall make your paths straight, or to direct your path, depending on the translation. And the key thing to know here is in all your ways to fully submit. And when we do that, the Lord will direct our path. And I have an example here. I was reflecting on a time when I drove to Virginia, and I knew somewhat the path I was going to take, in that I had reviewed the route, and I knew that I was going to be driving on the expressway for hundreds of miles and not exiting. And so in my mind, I was thinking, all right, I'm going to get on this road and I'm going to drive for hours. Well, while I was driving, suddenly my GPS rerouted me and said to take the next exit. And I remember in that moment, a flurry of thoughts went through my head. I was thinking, did I put in the right address? I started second guessing that I entered in the right exit or the right address, and maybe it was having me exit improperly, taking me somewhere I didn't intend to go. I looked at the road in front of me. It was clear. There was nothing in front of me to indicate a need to exit this road. I knew in my mind from reviewing the route that I had to stay on this road for a really long time. And I had to make a split decision and decide, was I going to stay on this road, which I knew was the path to my destination, or was I going to listen to the GPS and exit and then look at what I'd entered in and just verify that I had the right address in there and trust in that. And so I remember for a few moments kind of thinking, do I stay on the road or do I exit? Do I stay on the road or do I exit? And I was a little fearful of exiting because I was in an unknown area, and I was thinking, what if I exit and I have a hard time getting back on the expressway? Because some places you can end up taking an exit and then it's a circuitous route to end up getting back to where you want to be. You lose time, you risk getting lost. All these things were going in my mind. And I decided to trust the GPS and not what I saw in front of me with my eyes, which was a clear road. And so I took the exit, and it took me down some really remote rural roads. I checked my GPS address to make sure it really was going to the right destination. And I proceeded driving past railroad tracks and farms, and I thought, where is this taking me? Well, along the path, after a couple miles, I found myself running parallel to the expressway, and I could see that the traffic was just stopped. There was probably an accident, something had happened, and the traffic was just parked on the expressway. And I was thankful that I had listened to the GPS and exited at the time that I did, and that I didn't get stuck in that traffic. And I think that there are times, and it doesn't happen all the time, but there are times when I hear the Lord telling me something and I look around and I don't perceive the danger or the thing in front of me at all. I've been warned by the Lord about things, and I think, I can't see it with my eyes, I can't feel it, I can't taste it, I can't touch it, but I feel like the Lord is warning me about this thing. And I have to decide, am I going to trust what I can see, what I perceive, or am I going to listen to this still small voice? And if I'm really not sure if I'm hearing the still small voice correctly, I'll ask for confirmations, and the Lord will send those in Bible verses or appropriate people who I can rely on that do hear from the Lord to confirm that I'm making right choices. And that's a wonderful thing, to have godly friends that you trust that really have done this, who have submitted all their ways to the Lord, who do recognize Him, who are submitting and acknowledging and recognizing, and they're walking in it, and the Lord is making their path straight. And it's good to have another voice to run ideas by. But I think it's a really beautiful thing to have those moments where we trust the Lord when we don't see it. And then it turns out to be confirmed that we heard correctly. And it builds our faith in those moments. And it helps us to remember those times when the situation arises later and you're thinking, is this the Lord? Is God directing me in this way? And the Lord will always confirm his word with his word, because his word is truth. And so anything you feel like the Lord is speaking to you should be confirmed in the word, the Bible, because God is not one to contradict himself, and his ways are true and righteous and godliness and holiness and gentleness. The ways of the Lord are gentle, and we lead with love. And it's a beautiful thing to have that relationship with the Lord where you say, I'm willing to risk it all. I'm willing to risk reputation or friends, coworkers, jobs, family, all for the gospel. That we lay it all down, and we end up getting our reward in heaven when we say that we served God with our whole heart, and that we fully submitted to him. We fully acknowledged him in all our ways. And we acknowledge that his ways are greater than our ways, and that sometimes that means giving up things that we love. Sometimes it means relationships, things that we feel safe with. I know in my life I've given up a lot of things that were like safety blankets for me, that I felt gave me a sense of comfort, that I've had to lay down in order to do what's right and in order to pursue the truth. And right now we recognize that the hour is dark, and we know the season that we're living in, and we know that now is not the time to compromise. Now is the time to speak truth. Now is the time to be bold. If there ever was a time to stand up for righteousness, it's now. And when you stand in the dark hour and you stand for that righteousness, it means a lot to God, and it will benefit you in the end. And that is the way to live in faith, to keep trusting and keep asking and keep moving forward and keep doing the right thing, and establishing more and more that relationship with the Lord. So that's the message that I have today. So take care, everyone, and I'll see you all tomorrow.